At brunch. My mom's shocking words left me speechless. You won't believe what happened next. The sun bathed the cozy brunch spot in golden light as glasses clinked and silverware clattered. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet scent of pastries. Laughter bubbled between tables. But for me, something felt off. My heart raced as I waited for my mom, her mysterious absence alarming. When she finally arrived, it was as if time twisted. Something flickered in her eyes. Was it fear, excitement, or something darker? Then she said it, her words echoing like a thunderclap. I've been keeping a secret. I'm not your real mother. The world around me froze. I could feel my heartbeat thundering in my ears, the clatter of dishes fading into eerie silence. My chest tightened, breath catching in my throat. The cafe buzz was now just an unsettling backdrop, as if everyone else was holding their breath too, waiting for what would happen next. What do you mean? I managed to stammer, a lump in my throat. The clink of cups shattered the silence, voices around me muffled and distant. She leaned forward, her expression grave, as if revealing forbidden knowledge. You need to prepare yourself for the truth. It's time. My mind spun, the air thick with questions. Questions like, was she joking? Or was this some cruel trick? The waitress walked by, eyebrows raised in concern as she overheard my trembling voice. Around us, the collective gasp of diners filled the air, a shared disbelief hanging heavy like storm clouds. I could almost hear whispers creeping along the walls, sending shivers down my spine. People shot sideways glances, mothers clutching their children tighter. We were riding the edge of something deep, something that could break open like a dam, flooding us with uncertainty. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As I sat there, my mind racing, my mom's gaze became more intense. Your real mother is out there, she said, her voice a whisper that pierced through my scattered thoughts. You were taken away for your safety, but she's searching for you. My breath caught again, uncertainty clawing at my insides. Who was she? Was she in danger? Something told me the truth was more tangled and dangerous than I could fathom. What would happen next? Would the next brunch drag me deeper into a mystery I'd never asked for? The air buzzed with heavy anticipation, and I could feel the tension thickening, wrapping around us like a shroud. My mind raced, each new revelation throwing me further into confusion. Explain, I breathed, shock turning my voice shaky. The vibrant cafe buzz faded away, leaving only my mom's face, pale and drawn, revealing a truth she had clearly carried for too long. I know this is hard, she stammered, her fingers nervously twisting a napkin. But there are things you need to understand. You might be in danger. The gravity of her words wrapped around me like a vice, squeezing. Danger? From who? I could barely whisper, desperate for clarity. She scanned the cafe, glancing at the people who seemed to stare with eager eyes, the weight of my urgency tugging the invisible tension among diners. Your mother, she was connected to some people who weren't safe. The kind of people who wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. What does that even mean? I shot back, frustration bubbling beneath my fear. Who are they? Why would they want me? I don't even know my real mother. The corners of her mouth tightened. You'll find out. But first, you need to trust me. It's critical. Her tone turned intense, pleading, as if the very truth of my existence rested in her hands. We need to leave right now, before it's too late. My stomach churned as adrenaline surged through me. The calm atmosphere of the brunch had transformed into a suffocating pressure cooker, and all I could hear was the pounding of my heart in time with the ticking clock on the wall. Leave? Just like that? I gasped, Glancing around at faces, I recognized friends, acquaintances, all oblivious to the chaos swirling just below the surface. Are you serious? I'm not just going to run away. Her eyes held mine with an intensity that chilled me. The longer we stay here, the more exposed we are. Anyone could be watching. Panic surged within me. Everything I believed shattered, and I wrestled with the choice in front of me, a leap into the unknown. Leaving behind the life I had known, or stay and risk whatever danger lurked in the shadows. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I suddenly demanded, my voice strained but resolute. I deserve to know. I was protecting you. She shot back, raising her voice just enough to grab the attention of a few nearby tables, their casual chatter dying down. You weren't ready for this, none of us were. But we don't have time for that now. I stared back at her, torn between the life I had always known and the chaotic truth of who I really was. And what about the family I have now? My friends? My life? Blunt realization washed over me, as alarming as cold water. Did any of it truly matter anymore? With each second weighing heavier, I hesitated, my limbs leaden with fear and confusion. We can find your real mother, she said softly, her eyes pleading for trust. But you have to come with me. Just then, the cafe door swung open, a gust of wind swirling in, sending a ripple through the room. Every head turned. My stomach dropped. There, silhouetted against the sunlight, stood a figure. A woman. She looked familiar, her long hair cascading down her shoulders as she scanned the room. Could it be? My breath caught in my throat, and before I knew it, the answer echoed through my mind like an alarm bell. But it was more than I could have anticipated. Is that her? Is that my mother? I whispered in disbelief, my heart racing anew. My mom's face fell, a shadow passing over her. No, it can't be. Not now. We have to go now. The intensity of the moment seized me. I had to decide, stay and learn the truth or run with my mom, plunging deeper into the unknown. As I stood frozen in place, the woman's gaze locked onto mine, piercing and unyielding. The air thickened with tension, and the clock ticked down. What would be my next move? And as the woman's mouth opened to speak, the words that would set everything spiraling towards chaos hung in the air, waiting to be unleashed. The moment felt suspended in time, a fragile bubble holding back a storm as I locked eyes with the woman. There was a startling clarity in her gaze, something raw and fierce, and it drew me in like a moth to a flame. A tremor ran through me. This wasn't just a stranger. This was someone significant. Emery. She finally breathed, her voice thick with emotion. Her lips parted as if she was about to unveil the secrets of the universe. But doubt flickered beneath the surface. I could see the battle within her. Fear waged against desperation. I faltered on my feet, the world around me fading, boiling down to her voice cutting through the tension. We need to talk. Not here, she said firmly, stepping into the cafe. Her presence shifted the air, drawing curious eyes. No, my mom's voice cut through like a knife. You can't. But the woman pressed on, taking a determined step towards me. Emery, please. There's so much you don't know. A jolt of anger surged. Why should I trust you? My voice trembled, fury kindling beneath the surface. You're just some random woman who claims to be my mother. No, she countered, desperation surfacing. I'm not some woman. I'm your enough. My mom's voice rang out, fierce and protective, as she stepped forward, blocking me from the woman. We need to go. Now. I felt every eye upon us, the cafe falling into a hush filled with confusion and curiosity. The tension was electric, and I felt the heat from both women as they stood off combatants in a battle for truth and identity. With every second stretching, I could see the people around us straining to catch snippets of the unfolding drama. Why were they looking at us? I hissed, tension knitting my brows together. The urgent dread gripped me. Why can't you just tell me what's going on? Because they're dangerous, my mom replied, keeping her voice low but insistent. We don't have time to explain because I don't know how many of them are here right now. The word danger looped endlessly in my head. Who are they? This isn't the place. The woman's voice was calm, collected. The contrast to my mom's frantic energy was stark. I can help you understand. But if you don't leave now, they could find you. Find me? Why would anyone care about me? I felt a surge of indignation mixed with fear, every nerve screaming at me to decode the chaos around me. But the hunted look on my mom's face told me what I needed to know. Whatever was brewing, it was life or death. Let us just walk outside, the woman urged. Just hear me out. No, we stay here. My mom countered, panic glimmering in her eyes. We can't, not now. You don't understand. We can't risk it. As the tension crescendoed, I felt a pang of guilt behind my urgency to know the truth. What if she's telling the truth? My own thoughts felt like a betrayal to my mom. The woman glanced at my mom, eyes pleading, then returned to me. Emery, just trust me. What's about to happen? She trailed off, shaking her head as if she could hardly bear it. You need to know you're not alone in this. We're family. Enough! I snapped, a swell of frustration breaking through. I wanted answers. Family? I spat. What does that even mean? In that instant, the cafe door swung wide again, and in strode two imposing figures. They appeared like shadows piercing the bright cafe light, their faces hidden beneath dark hoods. The tension shifted immediately, chilling the air. My heart plummeted. What do they want? I whispered, panic rising like a tidal wave. Run! My mom shouted, each word an explosion of urgency. Jolted back to reality, I gripped my mom's arm, torn between the woman I barely knew and the life I'd always known. The cafe erupted into chaos as the two figures moved further inside, scanning the crowd with cold, predatory gazes. What if they find out I'm not who they think? I breathed, fear coiling in my stomach. We can deal with this, the woman said, her voice steady, but I could see the fear in her eyes. Just trust me one last time. As I fought to pull away from the grip of confusion, the world around me wavered between my mother's urgent pleas and the unfamiliar woman's promise of family. The shadowy figures advanced, and as I looked at my mama's strained face and then back at the woman's determined gaze, I knew a choice had to be made. Would I choose safety, or would I embrace the chaos that beckoned me towards revelation? And then the door swung shut behind them, sealing my fate. Would the truth set me free or plunge me deeper into the darkness that threatened to consume us all? The moment ricocheted through my body, heart racing as I processed the looming threat. The air around us grew thick. It felt alive, crackling with unspoken words and adrenaline. The shadowy figures seemed to draw closer, their presence smothering the chatter of astonished patrons. Go, now! My mom's voice broke through the panic, sharp as glass. I felt her grip tighten on my arm, her urgency palpable. But the woman, my supposed mother, stepped forward, defiance etched on her features. You can't let them scare you, Emery. If you run now, you might never know the truth. Truth? My voice came out shaky and desperate. I glanced between the two women, their contrasting energies fighting for dominance in my mind. One promised safety, the other a family I never knew I craved. The figures lingered by the entrance, surveying the chaos with unsettling calmness. Time twisted, each second stretching into infinity, while adrenaline fueled a dreadful urgency in my veins. What do they want? I asked again, a hint of hysteria creeping into my voice. They're searching for something or someone. The woman's eyes burned with intensity. And it's not just about you. It's about all of us. What do you mean us? Do you trust me? She tilted her head slightly. We don't have time for a history lesson. You need to make a choice. No, I want tea. I shot back, envisioning the possible futures in front of me, the familiar safety of my life or the fear of the unknown. You're asking too much. With a swift motion, my mom pulled me closer. They're not just after her. This is bigger than we ever planned. We need to leave now. An unthinkable weight settled in my stomach. The flaring conflict around me mirrored the fight within. I could feel the pressure of every eye still on us, the anticipation thick enough to choke on. Frantic faces, gasps, and what could only be described as hushed terror filled the cafe. Suddenly, a growl rumbled through the air. One of the hooded figures raised a hand, gesturing towards us with a finger extended. A predator locking onto its prey. There's nowhere to hide, girl. You can't run from your past. The words hit me like a slap, igniting my heart into a wild rhythm. My past? What are you talking about? I felt raw, exposed. Yet the essence of curiosity clawed at me alongside terror. It's time to face your reality, the woman said softly, but her tone was urgent, as if the walls themselves were closing in on us. We can't talk here, but you can't let them take you without knowing the truth. That looming threat pinned my focus. Was I willing to embrace the peril for the chance at answers? Could that be the key to understanding the storm raging inside me? Before I could respond, a table crashed over, sending a nearby patron sprawling to the floor. Chaos ensued as people collided, frantic to escape, the clamor drowning out the steady thrum of my thoughts. Now, Emery, run, my mom shouted, her voice breaking through the din like a siren. The adrenaline kicked in and instinct took over. I dashed towards the exit, but the feeling of being chased lingered like an unsettled ghost. I turned, spotting the woman's eyes reflecting a mixture of urgency and resolute determination. Emery, wait, we're not done, she called after me, but the moment felt too critical to hesitate. The door swung open, and I was hurled into the brightness of the daylight, heart pounding as I sprinted into the unknown. But as the cool air hit my face, an icy realization struck me. I hadn't just run from danger. I had also fled the possibility of discovering who I truly was, and that thought promised to haunt me in ways I couldn't yet fathom. Where do we go now? I gasped, glancing around as silhouettes of strangers whirled past, each one resembling the figures from the cafe, laced with my fear. In that moment, beneath the chaos, the fundamental question loomed larger than before. What awaited me in the shadows of the truth? I had barely taken a breath before a loud crack echoed from behind me. I turned sharply, dread freezing my blood. The worst was yet to come, and it would hunt me. Down until I faced it in the distance. A piercing siren wailed, and I knew one thing for certain. The game had just begun. My feet pounded on the pavement, each step propelling me deeper into an unknown that twisted like a knife in my gut. The din from the cafe dulled behind me, but the looming threat clung to my heels, more real than the ground beneath my sneakers. Emery, my mom's voice cut through the chaos, a frantic melody in the rush of my heartbeat. She was close. I could feel her presence pushing me forward, urging me onto the next chapter of this nightmare. We need to find a place to hide. Hide? From what? I gasped, struggling to keep my breath steady as the adrenaline coursed through my veins. My mind raced, picturing the cloaked figures from earlier. Every shadow felt like an extension of their presence, and I could almost hear their whispers creeping in, taunting me with truths I wasn't ready to confront. We'll talk once we're safe. My mom's reply was clipped, urgency layered in her tone. Every few moments, I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to find the figures lunging at me through the throngs of shocked onlookers. The street around us was alive, an explosive theater of panic. People emerged from shops, the shock and disarray spilling onto the sidewalks. I could see the wide-eyed stares and hear fractured conversations muttering, "What just happened? And did you see that?" The weight of the stares pressed down on me, and I felt my skin crawling in its intensity. Over there. My mom pointed to an alleyway shrouded in shadows, a possible sanctuary amidst the chaos. I followed her, adrenaline heightening my senses as we ducked into the confined space. The darkness enveloped us, and I leaned against the cool, damp brick, momentarily hidden from the world. Okay, now what? I asked, breathless. My heart wanted to explode from my chest. It seemed impossible to find clarity in the swirl of my thoughts. Now we talk. She glanced around, verifying that we were in the clear, and then met my gaze with urgency. Emery, you need to understand. Those people weren't just hunting for you. They're hunters. There I shushed her, the panic that had settled in my chest flaring once more. You can't just say that. What do you mean hunters? My mom took a deep breath, and I saw the tension in her shoulders relax, just the slightest bit. They're looking for what they believe is a threat. Something related to your true heritage. The words hung heavy in the air, threatening to crush me beneath their weight. My heritage? What are you saying? Listen, you have powers, abilities that you probably don't even know about. It's connected to who you really are. I just didn't want to scare you. Scare me? I laughed, a bitter edge cracking through my voice. You tell me I have superpowers, and suddenly I'm supposed to check my fear at the door? Rage pumped through me, battling the twisted excitement that bubbled uneasily beneath. Don't you see? Her voice dropped to a whisper, pulling me closer. You're special, Emery. They want to control that. They think if they capture you, they can harness it, use it for their own agenda. I stepped back, rattled by the implications. The world around me felt like it had flipped inside out. This wasn't just about an ordinary life anymore. A monstrous truth threatened to swallow me whole. Control me? What if I don't want to be controlled? What if I don't want any of this? Before she could respond, the faint sound of footsteps echoed from the mouth of the alley. My pulse quickened, and I suddenly felt small, trapped within my own existence. Run. My mom grabbed my hand, pulling me deeper into the alley as we forced our bodies forward. The scraping of shoes against asphalt drew nearer, urgency pooling in my gut as every exhilarating beat of fear coursed through my veins. As we rounded a corner, shadows danced behind us. I felt the hairs on my neck prickle, a primal instinct warning me of what loomed just outside our view. I thought we lost them, I gasped, glancing back, my heart hammering like a war drum. But before my mom could reply, an ominous figure stepped into the alley, a dark silhouette that brought the night flooding back. Around me, you can't run forever, Emery. I froze, words caught in my throat, knowing full well this confrontation might be just the beginning of facing whatever came next. What's happening? I whispered, the icy tendrils of fear creeping into my bones. Time to decide, Emery, the figure said, their voice smooth like silk, yet full of danger. The truth awaits if you're brave enough to seize it. And in that moment, with my heart racing and the shadows closing in, I realized the real battle had only just begun. My heart pounded in my chest as I stood frozen, eyes locked on the figure before us. Their silhouette was menacing, looming larger than life, making the narrow alley feel even tighter, almost suffocating. My mom squeezed my hand, grounding me, but I could feel the panic radiating from her. Emery, she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Do not listen to them. The figure stepped forward, a dark cloak billowing slightly with each movement. Beneath the hood, there were no visible features, only darkness that seemed to swallow the light. Your mother can't protect you forever. The power within you is awakening, they said, a sinister edge to their tone. You can embrace it or let it consume you. Enough! My mom's voice rang with authority, cutting through the tension. We're not here to play their games. She started to pull me backward, trying to retreat into the shadows. Where will you run? Another figure emerged behind us, blocking off our only escape route. They moved with an unsettling confidence, the glint of something metallic catching the dim light. Trapped. The word slammed into me with a force that knocked the breath from my lungs. My instinct screamed to fight, but fear anchored me in place. I had no idea what was about to happen, but the look on my mom's face told me everything I needed to know. We were in deep trouble. You have a choice to make, Emery. The cloaked figure continued, their voice coaxing yet cold. Join us and you'll learn about your true potential. Resist and you will be hunted like an animal. Stop, I gasped, my voice sounding smaller than I felt. What do you mean? Why me? The absurdity of the situation clawed at my mind. Power? Abilities? I was just a normal girl. I felt that truth deep in my bones until now. Because you're not just normal, they answered, stepping closer still, the tension of the alley closing in around us. I could see faint outlines of twisted symbols stitched into their cloak, a language I didn't recognize. Some are born to bear the weight of destiny, and some they run. I will not let you touch her. My mom stepped in front of me, fiercely protective. But then a new sensation washed over me and energy crackled beneath my skin. And I suddenly felt it, like a soft pulse pushing against the walls I had unconsciously built. It seeped out from my core, swirling upward, igniting something deep within. Emery, my mom's voice jolted me back to the moment. I glanced sideways, watching her prepare for a fight I feared we wouldn't win. Choose. The figure tilted its head, eyes boring into me. What will it be? The pressure mounted, and in that strained silence, everything turned on its head. The noise of the outside world faded away until it was just us, the three of us huddled in that dark corner of the alley, teetering on the brink of insanity or acceptance. I was terrified, torn between the need for safety and the magnetic pull of what those cloaked figures were offering. To know who I was, to embrace whatever powers stirred within me. The thought was intoxicating. Suddenly, a surge coursed through me, raw and wild. I wasn't just going to submit or run. I had to act, and whatever this power was, I needed to confront it. Let us find out, I finally said, surprising myself with the steadiness in my voice. My mom's grip tightened around my hand. No, Emery, you don't know what that means. But I was already stepping forward, and as I did, shadows began to spin around me like a storm, embracing me in an unexpected warmth. Very good, the figure said, amusement weaving through their words. You may just be what we need after all. Before I could react, the ground beneath us rumbled like a distant thunder. The alley warped around me, shadows swelling and pulsating, and everything went dark as a new reality began to unfold. What had I just done? In that moment of uncertainty, the only thought that echoed in my mind was a question. Was I ready for whatever came next? The shadows around me parted, revealing a path forward into a world I never knew could exist. The whispers of my destiny called me, and as I stepped into that void, a chilling voice echoed behind me. You've chosen, Emery, but choosing always has its consequences. Now, we were racing against not just external demons, but the chaos brewing in my own heart. What awaited us in the darkness as I embraced this new world? The moment the shadows enveloped me, the world shifted. I felt weightless, like I was suspended in thick fog. My heart raced, each beat echoing in my ears as if urging me to flee. But I didn't flee. Somehow I knew this was where I belonged. A flash of light pierced through the darkness, sharp and sudden. I shielded my eyes as the surroundings transitioned from black to vibrant hues. Colors exploded in every direction, swirling around and coiling into unusual shapes. I blinked away the disorientation and took a step forward, my bare feet meeting cool, solid ground. Welcome, said the voice again, not from behind me but all around. The figure stepped forward, their cloak trailing behind like smoke. The stark contrast between the haunting darkness of the hood and the brightness of this new world sent chills down my spine. Here you will learn the truth and what you are capable of. Where are we? Panic flared inside me, but I fought to keep my voice steady. My mom's presence was suddenly absent, an inexplicable emptiness where her fierce warmth had just been. Everything you've known has been a lie, the figure, still cloaked and enigmatic, continued, their voice soothing yet chilling. This is the nexus where reality intertwines with possibility. As they spoke, images began to overlay my mind, each one more striking than the last powers awaking. A family torn apart, people losing themselves to darkness. What do you mean? I stammered, desperate for clarity. What do I have to do? You must learn to harness the power within you. You are special, Emery, the figure said, stepping closer, the shadows billowing around them like restless spirits. You can influence the fabric of fate itself. Words like special seemed to charm my thoughts but also sent a wave of unease crashing over me. Who was I to wield power? The thought ignited anxiety and thrill hand in hand. But as I gazed around, I noticed others emerging from the haze, familiar faces twisted with uncertainty, fear, and anticipation. Some were my classmates, other strangers I couldn't quite place, all standing in this vivid world, staring at their own potential, their own choices. Emery, listen, a girl shouted, her voice breaking. You have to choose before it's too late. As she spoke, I saw flashes of darkness pulling at the edges of their consciousness. I felt their whispers, fears that clawed at them like hungry beasts. I stepped back, an icy dread spreading through my veins. What happens if I refuse? A smile slithered across the cloaked figure's face, and it sent an icy shudder through me. You'll be left here, empty and lost. The darkness will consume those who fear their own power. As if on cue, the shadows surged closer, creeping toward my classmates, caressing their legs like serpents ready to strike. Panic erupted among them, a tide of screams and chaotic movement. "Stop!" I shouted, instinctively stretching my hand toward them, a desperate attempt to reach out. Suddenly, I felt the energy within me pulse harder, like a flame willing to ignite. The shadows hesitated, pulled back, sensing the disturbance. "This is your moment, Emery," the figure urged. "Embrace it. Take a leap, Emery. Trust yourself." The girl's voice broke through the noise, her fear palpable. It was now or never. I had to make a choice to embrace the chaos swirling around me, to find my strength, or to succumb to the very darkness that threatened everything I cared about. Taking a deep breath, I focused on the tempest inside me, summoning all that I had. But could I trust someone cloaked in shadows? I dug my heels into the ground, faced the menacing darkness, and shouted, "I choose to fight." The shadows recoiled, their hold weakening, but I could feel a stronger force pushing against me. The shifting energy around whispered promises and threats. "Very well, little light," the figure said, their tone dripping with amusement. "But know this, everyone who fights must pay a price." Before I could demand clarity, the ground began to tremor beneath us again, the colors shifting alarmingly. A crack opened in the ground, dark abyss that looked ready to swallow us whole, and all I could think was that this was just the beginning. What price would I end up paying for my choice? Would I be brave enough to confront the shadows of my own destiny, or would they tear me apart? The thrill and terror intertwined as I prepared for the inevitable. The abyss yawned wide, an insatiable maw hungry for light, as if it mirrored the chaos inside me. My heart thudded against my ribs, every pulse a reminder of the gravity of my choice. I had declared my intent to fight, but what awaited beneath the surface? "Emery," the girl's voice shattered the chaotic noise. She was still there, eyes wide and terrified, holding on to the fleeting hope that I could protect her. I turned, feeling that deep connection ignite something within me. I wasn't alone. The cloaked figure's laughter echoed softly, a sound that curled like smoke, twisting the air. "Your spirit is fierce, but it means nothing if you cannot control it. Are you ready to learn the price?" I breathed in deeply, the colors swirling around me brightening at the edges like dawn breaking. "What do I need to do?" I asked, fighting against the tremor in my voice. "Accept your fears, your truths," the figure said, the shadows dancing closer, whispering secrets I couldn't yet grasp. "Embrace them as you would a friend. Only then will you rise above the darkness." Distrust flared again, but I felt the pull of my classmates, their fear contaminating the vibrant world around us. The shadows were getting restless. I had to act. I closed my eyes, allowing the fears I'd hidden away to surface: the doubt, the loss of my mom, the fear of never being enough. And then I opened my eyes. "Okay," I said, confidence rising like a tide. "I accept what makes me weak and what makes me strong." A pulse of energy surged through me, igniting my fingertips like a match struck in dark. Colors intensified, forming ribbons of light that danced outwards, pushing against the encroaching shadows. There was a sense of power in vulnerability, a clarity in truth. The cloaked figure faltered, their laughter silencing, replaced by a low growl of uncertainty. "Interesting. Emery, keep going. You're doing it." The girl's excitement was ablaze, shining through our collective fear. The shadows recoiled as I wove my light into shapes, bright constructs of hope and defiance. Each creation sprang from my fears, binding them into something beautiful and strong. Connecting with my classmates, their stories mingling with mine, we formed a shield, a living tapestry of struggle and resilience. But the voices from the shadows grew louder, each whisper a sinister hiss filled with warning. You can't hold them forever, child. They feed on doubt, and your strength is fleeting. At that moment, the ground shook violently, a crack splitting wider beneath our feet, revealing that dark abyss, a yawning chasm that seemed ready to engulf us all. I could hear the fears manifesting into tangible forms, clawing at the edges of my mind, begging for release. What do we do? I shouted over the roaring chaos. I turned to my classmates, searching for reassurance, but their faces mirrored my own dread. We fight together, the girl yelled, stepping forward. Let our light be stronger than the darkness. I nodded, the warmth of connection igniting a fierce resolve. I focused all my energy, summoning each flicker of light and driving it into the chasm. The shadows screeched, hissing like steam escaping a boiling pot. But a sudden chill swept through the air, a whisper of betrayal threading through our defenses. You are not ready to face what lies within the abyss, Emery. The figure warned, their voice curling like smoke around the rising tides of our light. The price of your choice is greater than you know. The ground beneath us trembled more violently now, the abyss pulsating as if alive, almost beckoning me to it, promising everything I desperately yearned to understand. I could feel the shadows surging, a dark tide ready to crash over us, and I had to wonder what darkness was ready to consume not just me, but everyone I loved. If I faltered now, could I truly harness this power without unleashing destruction? As I prepared to unleash our combined strength once again, a realization struck me. The battle was only just beginning, and the answers I sought lay deeper than I ever imagined. Would I have the courage to face what lurked in the abyss? And even if I did, would it change everything I thought I knew about myself forever? As the darkness threatened to engulf all traces of light, I steeled myself for the confrontation that loomed ahead. The ground shuddered beneath the weight of shadows, their whispers growing into a cacophony of voices, desperate to drown out my resolve. Every fiber of my being screamed to retreat, to escape the suffocating grip of darkness. But I couldn't. Not now, not after everything that had brought me to this moment. Emery, focus. The girl's voice was a lifeline, cutting through the chaos like a knife. I locked eyes with her, determination flickering in her gaze. Her faith ignited something deep within me, a flicker of strength that pushed back against the pressing shadows. The abyss roared, an insatiable beast hungry to swallow us whole. I could feel its breath, cold and stifling, wrapping around me. Ignoring the chill creeping up my spine, I pulled my classmates closer, the pulse of our fear intermingling but transforming into something brighter. Together, I shouted, channeling all our combined voices into one. We will not back down. As we formed a circle, light erupted from within us, a radiant shield against the consuming darkness. Each flicker took shape, weaving into strands of hope and defiance. The shadows hissed, their malice rising like smoke. I could feel their unease as they recoiled from our combined strength. But just as the first wave of confidence surged within, an unexpected voice sliced through the air. You think this light will save you? How naive. The cloaked figure materialized at the edge of the abyss, their eyes glowing like burning coals. Puppet strings, child. Your light is nothing more than an elaborate smoke show. The ground beneath us convulsed, an aftershock of rage that sent fissures spider-webbing across the earth. The abyss shifted, a monstrous silhouette carved from pure despair that twisted and turned. Always watching, always waiting. Doubt burrowed into my mind. Were they right? Was our fight hopeless? But pushing the fear aside, I called on those hidden truths I'd embraced. A jolt of energy surged through me, and I focused on the bond we shared. It was pure, unwavering, a lifeblood that pulsed with determination. Form a line, I commanded. The classmates rallied, standing shoulder to shoulder. Together, we pressed our hands forward, channeling our energy into one brilliant wave of light as the shadows writhed. The connection felt electric. I glimpsed flashes of each person's struggle, their pain, and their dreams. I could feel their hopes merging with mine, creating a radiant stream that shot toward the shadows. The cloaked figure's laughter twisted, shooting through the air like a bowstring pulled taut. Fleeting flame. Your light may glow bright, but it will flicker, and when it does, the abyss will take you. But in that moment, I tasted something sweeter defiance. Then let it try, I roared, amplifying our energy. The light surged forward, hitting the darkness with the fury of 1,000 storms. The abyss reeled, its howls twisting into anguished cries. For a heartbeat, I dared to believe we could win. Then, without warning, the ground split again, and a thunderous roar erupted from the darkness, swallowing the air and shaking our foundation. Prepare yourselves, I yelled, gripping the waves of light as the shadows surged back in a tidal wave of hopelessness and despair. The moment stretched, becoming a fragile thread on the brink of snapping. And then, everything went dark. The last image burned into my mind was the girl's face, her expression frozen in shock, mirroring my own as the shadows curled around us like serpents. Did we truly fall? What awaited us on the other side of this consuming blackness? In the eerie silence that followed, I felt a pulse of something profound, a heartbeat, perhaps, from within the abyss itself. What secrets lay there, just out of reach? What would it reveal? As whispers danced at the edges of my consciousness, promising answers, I realized this was only the beginning of a battle far deeper than I had ever anticipated. The darkness wrapped around me like a thick fog, a void that pulsed with my fears and hopes alike. I felt disoriented, floating in an abyss that churned with uncertainty. My breath was shallow, almost lost in the suffocating silence. Where were my friends? What had happened to the fight we just waged? Suddenly, a flicker of light pierced the overwhelming blackness. It wasn't just a light. It was warmth, a feeling that surged through me, igniting every nerve with hope. Emery, that familiar voice. It was the girl, a spark in the dark. You're not lost. We're all still here. Remember the light we shared? My heart quickened with renewed determination as I began to feel the presence of my classmates around me, bridging the gap where shadows threatened to engulf us. We're together, I shouted, confident, the words echoing in the empty void, the sound fueling a fire deep within me. As I focused on that light, I concentrated hard, envisioning our connection weaving together, stronger than any fear. Threads of energy began to pulse through the dark like veins, stitching together light and shadow in a beautiful tapestry of intent and resilience. With a rush, the light enveloped us, igniting the corners of the abyss, illuminating the path forward. There, in the center of the swirling darkness, was the cloaked figure, sneering. You think you can escape? This darkness is part of you. No, I shouted back, bravery surging as I stepped forward, flanked by my friends. This is not who I am. We choose to rise together. In that moment of clarity, I felt a power swelling within me, echoed by those around me, their light blending with mine, creating a force so bright it pushed back against the consuming shadows. The figure reeled, the sneer replaced by uncertainty. The shadows began to thrash wildly, wailing in desperation as our lights grew stronger, intertwining, mixing in a whirlpool of color. I could see it now, the horror and despair feeding the darkness, and I knew it couldn't hold against the force of our unity. Together, fight with me, I rallied, feeling their spirits lift in response. We held tightly to each other, allowing the warmth of our shared energy to radiate outward. As we channeled our combined strength, I saw images flashing in the air, moments of triumph, courage, connections that defied the darkness. The shadows howled in agony, the noise stabbing like jagged glass, but I would not falter. With one united push, we hurled our collective light towards the figure, a brilliant explosion of color that swallowed the darkness whole. The screams echoed, reverberating in a vast emptiness before falling silent. And then, a blinding flash erupted, forcing me to shield my eyes. I felt myself falling, but instead of fear, there was only a sense of liberation. As the light receded, I found myself standing back in the alley. My mom stood beside me, her face etched with worry and pride, while my classmates blinked in disbelief around us. The cloaked figures gone. The shadows had dissolved, and only daylight remained. What just happened? I gasped, leaning against the brick wall for support. Did we win? My mom took my hand in hers, a comforting presence. You faced your fears, Emery. You showed strength beyond what any of us expected. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning of who you truly are. Your power is still unfolding, the girl said, stepping closer. You have the potential to create light, to help others, to fight back. Together, we can stand against whatever darkness comes next. I looked around at the faces, each brimming with determination and courage. This new reality was daunting, but somehow, I felt a deeper connection to all of them. It's time to uncover the rest of your truth, my mom said softly, squeezing my hand. Together, I whispered, feeling the weight of uncertainty lift as my confidence surged. We stepped forward, a group united, ready to face whatever awaited us in this uncharted territory. The abyss had swallowed part of us, but in doing so we discovered a greater power. As we walked onward into the unknown, I realized the true battle was not about light versus dark. It was about understanding, accepting, and embracing every part of ourselves. One last look back at the dark alley left me steady. No more running. I choose to fight. And with that, everything felt possible. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive adventures packed with uncovering truths and unexpected surprises. Smash the like button now to help feed this channel's growth. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this explosive finale. You have to share this video with at least 5 friends who crave a story as thrilling as this. Don't wait even one more second to join this community and support the journey ahead.